Should the game master or dungeon master encourage conflict in the party? I'll discuss that in this video. Good friends can disagree over a variety of things, whether you like broccoli, whether you don't like broccoli, whether you like a variety of different things, whether you're Republican or Democrat or liberal or progressive or libertarian or conservative. Those are all legitimate disagreements, and you can have protracted disagreements about them. A conflict is a serious disagreement or argument. Encouraging that in the party is an interesting way of moving and engaging in the storytelling. Let me give you some examples. So imagine a party comes into the town, and it's a small village, and they come up to the standard tavern or inn, and the innkeeper tells the party about the mausoleum up on the hill, and there's undead in there, and you hear them at night, and people are afraid to go out at night, and the whole town would appreciate it if the party could go in and do something about it. And so, of course, the party goes up and sees the mausoleum, and they break into the mausoleum, and they go through, and they find the the undead that are there, and they dispatch them, and they see the treasure, and they take the treasure. And they take the magical sword and the armor that was on one of the undead. And as they walk out of the mausoleum, standing there is the town constable and a very irate and distraught, obviously well-to-do person in the town, and saying, "There they are! They're the ones who broke into our mausoleum and desecrated our family's crypt." Well, what's the party to do? Now, this is an ethical question. You know, you're talking about a party that can easily dispatch the undead, so they're probably a little bit higher than first level. They're probably higher than the constable. Do you destroy and kill the constable and the nobleman because you later find out that the innkeeper has a grudge against both the constable and the nobleman who lives in the town, and told the party sort of a lie that the undead are bothering the party, that no, they just stay up there and don't bother anyone, and that the nobleman comes in and occasionally asks advice of his dead? I mean, you know, you could talk about talking to your dead, seeking advice of your dead. There are cultures in this world that do that. So what does the party do? This is a conflict. This is an ethical conflict. This is where I find it fascinating to see how long the discussions go on in the party. Because they can say, yeah, well, we just off the nobleman and the constable and go on, and while we're at it, we might as well rape and pillage the town. Well, that's one possibility. And then you have other people going, no, we didn't mean to hurt anyone. We thought they were undead, and try and talk their way out of it, which of course they've done the dirty deed. They've killed the undead. You can't bring them back now. I mean, there is no raise to undead. Well, I mean, okay, I mean, there's animate dead and various spells that I guess you could figure something out. But what happens is you've destroyed a crypt, and you've caused distraught among someone's family. So this is the kind of questions that I like to inject in the campaign, because if you've played with a variety of people, they may not all have the same opinion of what you should do. One of the things that I did in my World of Tiglath campaign, the party's coming up, they're wandering around through the variety of things, trying to avoid the authorities, the Marzar, who are in there, and they come up to the small village and they walk in, and of course they go into the tavern and they ask, what do you have to drink? And they have goblin beer. Now the party has never tried goblin beer, and of course they try some of it, and it's fairly tasty, and they find that the tavern has a lot of it. And the other thing that's a little unusual, they're fairly far from the ocean, but when they come into the shops and try and trade, everybody keeps trying to sell them pearls, which are sort of unusual this far inland. So the party goes, and they hear that there is a goblin village or whatever up in a cave up on the side of the hill. And so, of course, the party thinks, well, we'll go kill the goblins. They go wandering up there. But as they leave the town, they find that the goblins are an integral... he says that the goblins are doing a lot of commerce with the town. And as they go to head up in that direction, they tell some story that isn't exactly true. And the townspeople say, oh, by the way, would you like to... if you're heading that way... the merchant over here would like the company. I mean, it's safe going up there, but it's a long journey through some lonesome woods, and why don't you go along with him? So they go along, and they're talking with the merchant, and they find that yes, he makes the trip a couple of times a week, and he says the problem that he has is that he takes a load of sheep excrement, which is what the goblins are really interested. They occasionally buy some sheep, and the excrement is what they're buying. They pay a heavy price for, let's be honest, shit. And they pay in pearls. And they take the excrement up there, and they give them the excrement, and they trade it for pearls and beer. And they come back. And they find that there's a thriving trade going on. This causes a moral conflict with the party, because they're going, we've always heard that goblins are evil things and we should go kill them. But now they're integrated in the community, and yes, they think that occasionally the goblins come out and steal some sheep. Yeah, the townspeople view that as part of the standard doing the day-to-day business. And it causes the conflict that should we just off the goblins? And I had some of the people in the party say, well, they're evil. We kill goblins. That's what we do. And then you have other people go, yeah, he says, but we'll devastate the economy of the town if we do this. So that's another interesting ethical question. The one that I remember that was really fun was in my World of Tiglath campaign. And the party's been going through, and the Marazar have invaded and killed the noble family and the king, and have an iron fist ruling the country, and they put up with nothing. They will, if someone attacks a Marazar, they will kill them. The Marazar are notorious for skinning or flaying alive their victims, and they tack their skins up on the walls. They're a very ruthless type of people. And so the party comes into this town, and they're in the tavern, and the boy who is cleaning up the tables leaves a little note on the table under one of the plates. The players pick it up, and it's written in a child's hand. It says, if you want to strike a blow for freedom, meet in the graveyard at midnight. Well, obviously, the party's going to take this little bait. They're going to go out to midnight, and they're going to find this small 11-year-old boy. And he says, come with me. We're going to get rid of the Marazar. Well, the party's seeing how cruel the Marazar are, and they're worried about this, and they come, and there's two boys, and what they have found is they'd found a broken down cart with a ballista on it. And they've managed to repair the ballista. And they've got this ballista there, and they're going. He says, "Yeah, we know when the officer of that's in the camp in the town is going to come up the trail, and we're going to kill the captain, and then we'll defeat the Marazar." And the party's going, "No, we know. I mean, okay, maybe even if you do kill the officer, they're going to capture you and kill you." But arguing with a 10-year-old or 11-year-old couple of boys about something like that is not going to work. And meanwhile, the Marazar show up and capture the party, and as they capture the party, one of the boys jumps up on the ballista and fires a ballista, and it kills one of the Marazar. So the Marazar are enraged, but they don't know who actually did it. And they tell the party and the boys, "You tell us who did that, and we'll let the rest of you go free." Now, what does the party do? They're captured. They're outmanned. They've got the Marazar can easily off all of them. Not a problem. They're totally outclassed. They're outnumbered, and you've got these two little boys who stand tall and stand up. They're not going to squeal on each other. They're not going to squeal and say who killed the Marazar. Does the party give up the boys? And this was an interesting conflict. This discussion went on for a while in the party. Do we, what do we do? If we don't, they're going to kill one of us. If we do, we're selling our soul. And as the saying goes, so they actually gave the boys up. It's a story. But that's the challenge. That's the conflict, because you're coming into moral and ethical conflict with the party. You present them with a challenge that they have to think about. The way I was first ran into this was many years ago. I was running a campaign, and there was the party is out on the ocean, and they've heard about this. The merchants in the town want them to go and investigate and put down this evil, they're not exactly sure what it is, an evil wizard who's built this death ray up on this mountain, who's demanding tribute from all the ships that go by, or he burns them up. Archimedes would be proud. It's an Archimedes death ray. So anyway, the party comes in, they come in, and as they go through, they find that there is a gold mine at the bottom of the mountain, and they go up, and they find where toward the very top of the mountain there's a smelter where they smelt the gold, and then a large furnace where they melt the gold, and then they're up on the top of the mountain is they pour, there's the large mold where they've built this gigantic gold mirror. Now, this thing is massive. It's worth many thousands of gold, maybe tens of thousands. I can't remember. I actually worked out the value of it at one point in time. But it's up on the top of the mountain. How do you get it down? The party's defeated this. That discussion and the arguments that ensued were hilarious to sit back. I think it went on for 2.5 hours, where the party was trying to figure out how they would get the gold down the mountainside, and from there it's too big to fit in the hold of the ship. I mean, it's massive, and do we cut it up? What do we do with it? And the arguments about how to go on faster. This was a conflict in the party. There were somewhat heated discussions, but there was discussion and argument about how's the best way to take and get this treasure back, so they could get the value of an experience points. I was running where this was very early Dungeons and Dragons, where you got experience points for gold. This is why I like to give experience points for gold. So the challenge is, what does as a game master or dungeon master give interesting challenges to your players, and sometimes make them moral and ethical. I remember another challenge where they're hearing one, and one of the the party is presented with this sort of this quest. We need you to do this and this, and we'll give you this and this. You have to accumulate these items. We need you to grab them. And what happens is that what's the list? There's some various things. There's the blood of a crow and various things. And one of the items was the head of an unborn baby. And I remember the description, the character goes, what? The person goes, what? And he says, and he says, well, how do you do that? And I says, well, you find a mother who's expectant and you remove the head of the unborn baby. In clinical terms, basically like that. So this is one of the things that they have to do. Well, this caused moral outrage, and of course we're going to off the person who does this. And some of the party members are going, do we really want to just kill somebody because he asked for something? You know, asking for something that is abhorrent is one thing, but killing someone because they asked the question is a whole different discussion. So you can get into interesting moral and ethical questions about things like that by putting them into your adventures. And you can cause conflict in the party. Now, do I believe that the conflict should be, come to blows? No, I think you should do that. And, I'm not encouraging someone to, fist fights or fisticuffs or, shooting or stabbing. But I've sat back and enjoyed the moral and ethical conflict that I've generated in the party by giving them challenges that make them think, make them decide, are they going to role play their character, or are they not going to role play their character? Are they going to see what the ethical ramifications of what they do are? Because, what happens when you do go out and you slay the monster, but you find that the monster actually had some beneficial effects for the party or for the village? I mean, it's just, so you've destroyed the economy of the area. Are you going to put up with that? What is the party going to do? Those are the things that I like to add, and that's the conflict that I like to add in the games. If you like my video, press the thumbs up button. I'd appreciate that. Or if this interests you, you can always subscribe to my channel. There's a button right above. I look forward to hearing some comments. Tell me what you think about this, and I'll try and reply, and we can see if I'll do some more of these. Thank you.